Are you oscillating through dimensions like I am through this spiritual journey? Because that's what it feels like. That's what a spiritual journey is. I'm gonna start from the beginning because you might not know me, might have never watched my videos, and either way, let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's get to the beginning of this. So for the past few years, I've been going through a spiritual journey, a spiritual path. And not to say I'm this guru or enlightened or anything crazy like that, because I'm definitely not. I'm still very, very human with a lot of shadows, a lot of projections that I've worked on that I'm aware of, but I don't pretend to know it all. I'm just speaking from my own experience, and I believe that there are others who can relate to me, especially as a man, as a masculine guy, which I think is sorely missing in this space. I mean, there's a lot of you out there. There's men doing really, really good work, and this is just my perspective on it because, Jesus, if you YouTube Divine Masculine right now, actually, I haven't done this in a few months, so who knows, maybe it changed, but it's always like, like tarot reading cards of like, what does a Divine Masculine think about you, or something like that. It's like targeted towards women. That's why I don't really use that word, because it's been hijacked, and so I prefer the term sacred masculinity, because divine masculine kind of gives a whole twin flame, runner, all this stuff, and that's a subject for another day. I don't pretend to know much about that. That's not really my strength, my thing. I believe in divine union. I believe in polarity and masculine, feminine, and something that transcends that. But back to the subject, back to the thing I'm talking about. I kind of go everywhere, and that's just on brand here, right? But I notice myself oscillating, right? Each time, let's say, especially in the spiritual space, the ego is seen as bad often, or something we should get rid of or be aware of. It really depends where you fall on that. Sometimes people skip that altogether, but lately I've been working on becoming more aware of my ego, or at least it's becoming easier, and tapping into my heart, getting into my heart space, perceiving with my heart. In another video, I talk about how the heart actually has a higher or bigger electromagnetic field than the brain, like by a lot. I think it's between 5 to 15 times. I just know how to 5 in it or something, but it's a lot bigger. The field, the electromagnetic field of the heart is a lot bigger than the brain, which to me makes sense, but maybe to other people it's like, what? Like, isn't the mind everything? Isn't the brain everything? It's because we've forgotten how to connect to the heart and perceive with the heart. Not to say I've mastered that, definitely not. I'm like in the beginning, baby step stages of that, but it's starting to become a lot easier to tap into that heart space. You know, when it's blocked, when we're in fight or flight, when we're in fear, when we're in our ego and not in the good way, because there's different ways. I don't think of the ego in a classical way, like destroy the ego. Generally, I don't believe that. I think we should form an alliance with the ego. I think we should train the ego. We should be aware of the ego, and where it's faulty, like correct it as much as possible, and ultimately through this oscillating, it becomes less and less prominent. We're able to be aware of it. We're able to see, hey, the ego feels like it's a separate thing, but actually we're all one. You and me, we're reflections of each other. We're expressions of consciousness. We're expressions of God, and so on and so forth. But in this experience, through these years, I've noticed whenever I try to destroy my ego, have an ego death, it's like for a bit, I'll be in that space, just for a little bit, be like, I get it now. And then the ego just comes back, like raging mad, kind of like, what the hell, man? You're trying to get rid of me? You're trying to kill me? I saved your butt. I've been there for you, and you're trying to get rid of me? Why I feel that way, why it seems that it expresses itself that way, or at least that's how it feels. There's someone I really appreciate, and he has a podcast with Danny Morel. His name is Tu-Lam, TU-LAM. I think he's a Green Beret or a Ranger. Either way, he's military, and he has a very spiritual knowing. He's very tapped in, and he kind of says that, like, yeah, I'm aware, you know, I'm very spiritual, and I'm aware of the ego, but I've learned in a way to live with it, right? To form this alliance where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let you out for a little bit, play this character, be this tough military guy, get into the character, the literal character, and while I'm still grounded in that spirituality, I still practice these things, and I still know, and that's pretty much how I feel about that middle way, the middle path. but I've noticed the middle path kind of starts moving over. The middle path starts moving over, and it's like suddenly, snap, I'm definitely a lot more aware of my heart. Suddenly I'm more aware of my ego. Suddenly I'm observing it a lot easier, and that all has to do with my, maybe nervous system regulation. At least that's what I speculate. But really, do I know 100% what has happened? Not really. I just know that it's coming a lot easier, but then at the same time it's raging. It's coming, and I'm grieving, and I'm angry, and then I'm happy, and then it's very polarizing emotions just clashing constantly. And ironically, through the rejection of my ego, at least when the times where I'm like, all right, like, you're not real, it really does get angry. And of course, it's built for self-preservation. It's built to be your identity, your shield, right? It's built to be there for you. So it makes sense why it would be angry. This extreme of roller coaster emotions and thoughts and feelings and everything that comes along with a raging ego is present. It does make sense. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna not judge you to the best of my ability and allow you to do the thing that you got to do, and have compassion for it, have space for it, and not so much reject it, but be okay. And then on the flip side of it, it's like, damn, I'm really not that spiritual. Like, I can't get rid of the ego. Like, it's so funny. All these different characters are just coming out to play, and it's like, well, this so-and-so person is able to have a way easier time. They're way ahead of me. And it's just tiring. It's so tiring, because you know what? Really, like that's a falsehood. That's the trap. What really it is, and maybe you can relate to this, is it's like that feeling of not being enough, not spiritual enough, or not ahead enough, or not enlightened enough. But you know what? Screw that. And yes, that's my ego speaking. Like, I am human. I'm not even interested in like reaching spiritual enlightenment. Like, that's not really a goal I have. It's just these things are progressing naturally in this way. But you know what? I am flawed. I have my shadows. I speak my truth, and sometimes it rubs people the wrong way, and sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I'm really fucking wrong, and I gotta like I gotta just take it back. But overall, I'm doing my best, and I think most people are doing their best. No, that's okay. I don't know about that, but I know a lot of people are doing their best. And sometimes it takes that flaming sword, right? It's that's the thing with the spiritual space. I do not believe in just love and light. I don't, because I think the shadow is as much a part of the light as the light is part of the shadow. And then there's like that all-encompassing oneness that transcends it all, and I'm aware of it. But as of now, I think for myself, it's harmful to not move up and down and laterally. I think it's more harmful to believe that I'm reaching the spiritual enlightenment, that I'm suddenly, I know all the answers. I feel like that's more dangerous than admitting I am human. And sometimes I want to call people out, especially in the spiritual space. I don't want to make this video about that, but I have a lot to say about it. And it does come from some part of my shadow, some part of that ego and the aggression and maybe projection. I don't know. It's something I'm still discerning, but at the same time, I'm like, no. Like, there's some BS out there, and it is not a projection. It is not a projection. There is some BS out there. And there's these spiritual people or spiritual entrepreneurs, and suddenly, I guess I'm gonna go there. Suddenly you're charging like 10 grand packages for something that we both know, we all know is not the 10 grand. But you're like, well, I'm abundant and my self-worth, and no, you know what you're doing. I know, because I've been in those spaces and I tried doing the same things, and it never felt right. I never reached that point of doing it, but it's more like, what they're teaching right now seems sleazy. It seems manipulative. Like, you're telling me I have to focus on a pain point to convince the other person, but we're in a spiritual space, but you want to focus on the pain point, and they justify and say, well, you have to, this is just marketing, you have to play the game. I'm fucking tired of the game. I'm tired of the game. And this is it's something I'm genuinely struggling with right now, because I don't know how to like not be part of the game. And I think these people don't know how to be not part of the game. But you can't don't BS yourself. Don't BS yourself. I'm not trying to BS myself. Like, it's like I'm acutely aware, and it sucks because I don't. It's like being stuck, and I didn't choose that path, you know, for the most part. Otherwise, I'd be making money right now. Like, okay, it's not that easy, but you know, to follow these tactics, tried and true tactic, it can grow success easily. Rage bait and all these different things, and I don't want to do it. It doesn't feel right, you know. And I've been in these Zoom calls where they're like, okay, like, and they try to gaslight you, like, oh, well, then you're not going to be successful, then you're not going to do it. And how is that spiritual? If you really believe you are abundant, or rather, if it depends on what vein of spirituality you are, but I feel like, you know, I resonate that you have to be okay with what is coming to you. Like, if God decides, you know what, you're going to be poor now, like, you're going to lose everything. And of course, I don't wish that for anybody, but it's like, you're kicking and screaming, well, where's your faith, right? Aren't you abundant? Don't you have abundance in there? And I say that myself too, because I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with this subject, but I refuse to go that far. I don't know how to walk the middle line there. There's so many things that I've witnessed and I'm like, how the hell is that spiritual? Like, you're telling me and trying to gaslight me and trying to manipulate me, and then going to, you know, there's people that question it. Oh, like, should we really be doing that? Should we really be making people feel this way? And then make a package, like a coaching package, or a, you know, and these different tiers. And like, I'm sorry, like, I've received email templates on how you know, like, someone, you know, I'm not gonna call out who, but someone sent me an email template of what they do, and I'm like, what the, like, it's a game. They're kind of like, okay, I'm gonna be host, like, I'm gonna be part of your guest, you're gonna get a certain percentage if I do well, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, holy shit, like, I get it, reciprocation of energy, whatever, however you want to justify it, but it's not real, it's not organic, it's not. And I guess organic, I don't know, maybe that doesn't bring results. I don't know, I haven't tested it. I mean, I'm doing it right now, but like, that's as far as that goes. I haven't made money off of this, and that's fine, but I have to express it, and there's going to be a time people are gonna catch it if they haven't already caught it. My grammar is like going all over, but there's going to be a reckoning. There is going to be a reckoning, and I want to be a part of the paradigm shift. I don't want to go back there, use these old tactics, these, yeah, they're tried and true, but I don't want to manipulate people like that. And what is the fine line between persuasion? Because persuasion is everywhere, whether you acknowledge it or not. Persuasion is just the way of the game. Unless you're like super enlightened and up there, then you genuinely are content and don't care. Like, you're not really trying to convince anyone, but that's very rare. That's very rare. If you're in this human flesh, human form, in one way or another, we're trying to direct the energy, channel the energy, nothing wrong with that. But when does it become manipulation, right? When does it become scarcity tactics? When does it become the sleazy marketing, right? When do we cross that line? And I haven't figured that out yet, and it's messing with my brain. I know we went into a whole different topic than the one I'm like, but it's kind of on the same vein, right? Like, I'm oscillating between these different dimensions, and I want to know, is anyone else feeling the same way? And I genuinely feel there's going to be a reckoning. I think astrologically there's something gonna happen with Uranus going into Aries or something. I could be wrong about that. I don't know, like, I'm not super in depth about that, but I feel something being born, and I feel something being born within me, and I'm kind of oscillating between this sacred type of rage and this learning how to temper that, and then directing it in a way that comes from a good intention, because I don't want to come at it in the wrong way. I actually want to really do this from a place of love and a place of like a higher frequency resonance. So what I expressed earlier, it was all over the place. It could have been my own projections, my own shadows, but genuinely, I suppose there's some outrage because there's a lot of manipulation going on, and I think it's important to discern that. And we could argue, well, that is a reflection of you. Sure, probably, maybe. I'm open to being wrong. I'm open to being told, you know, you could tell me in the comments what you think or whatever. I'm open to it, but at the end of the day, it is going to be my choice. And as long as I'm tapping into here and expressing that and really going deep in that energy, coming from a place of care, I think it'll be okay. I think I'm still figuring it out. This is very new to me. This new space is new, so I'm still learning how to handle that while like making peace with my ego, while respecting my ego, and doing that middle path, being able to be practical and apply it, not think I'm this, Archangel Michael with a flaming sword, though sometimes it feels like that, right? Like, well, I'm gonna be like Shiva, right? You create and you destroy. There's this polarity, and I really do think you have to destroy sometimes in order to create. It's a dance. So where does this go? And it's just an open conversation right now, and I really want to know if you are feeling the same way. If you already went through that and you're ahead of the game, and you want to share how you dealt with these feelings, let me know, because I feel like I'm in it, and I'm curious. I want to know. And then at the end, I'm like, all right, it is what it is. Like, this is where I'm at. And that's, in my flawed human beingness, that's... I really hope, even though this video was everywhere, that could shed some light, and maybe there's other people that can validate me. No, I'm joking about the validation. But, I think I'm expressing something that maybe a lot of people are feeling. It's active. On the other side of it, I do think it's necessary to become intimate with that darker side. I think it's necessary to equip yourself, especially if you're a person who, like, historically or like in the long term, you've been a person who has been a people pleaser, or someone that, has been in an abusive relationships, or has CPTSD, or has trouble with boundaries, because you will begin to understand how the world works. I think a lot of people just are softer by nature, or maybe their brain just doesn't work like that, like in that direction, or they're not aware of it. It's good to know. I don't think it's wrong to know about these things, because that's how I know. I've read Influence by Robert Cialdini. It's honestly one of my favorite books. He just basically breaks down why human nature is the way it is, why people can't say no to certain salesmen, and all these different tactics. And it's good to be aware, because you're like, oh, okay, now I understand, or why do this, or how to. You can use it for good or evil, but it's a choice, and I choose to bring awareness to that. I actually want to reread. And another book, though the utility of it I think is important, is the 48 Laws of Power, the 50th Law, anything by Robert Greene. Really, they're all different. They're really fun books. Watching him, and I do not attach yourself to everything he says or what the book says. I say that for everything except for Robert Cialdini. That one's Influence is actually pretty good, but do not attach yourself to any of it. Do not take the energy of that. So it really is what you do with this information, and that's how I feel about the ego. It's really how you approach it, what you do with this union that I'm trying to create. Am I wrong? Maybe. Who knows? We'll figure it out. We're in this together. If you enjoy these type of videos, feel free to subscribe. I have a newsletter that I send semi-frequently. I promise I don't spam you. I don't do crap like that. But yeah, if you're interested, come join. If not, it's cool. And thank you for watching. I hope you gained some value with this. I don't know. I'll see you in the next one.